Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Leah Nishmas Refuos Mordechai. Wow, still in Chicago. Rabbi Isai, just a few days until we begin everybody's favorite Masechta Kiddushin. Many of you have started it in yeshiva, maybe haven't finished it. It's the time to join. Now, here's the thing. Even if you joined for, let's say, Masechtas Megillah back in the day, and you receive the free Gemara. If you join now, you will get another Gemara. Not only that, the guy that brings you will get a Gemara. The kids are free Gemaras for everybody. Come join, finish a Masechta. It's not that long. It's about 90 days, finish a Masechta. Join one, join all. And here's another thing, Rabbi, I was just thinking about it. You know those scams that tell you if you call this and this number, you can win a video game, you can win a TV, and there's not a scam. There's a real thing that if you put something on your status, you can make $10,000 a week. No, $2.6 million a week. All you need to do is put in your status to join a share. When somebody else learns Torah because of you, you reap the benefits. You don't do anything. You sit back. You don't have to work. You don't. The Zeav come in. For one esrig, you work and you spend $1,000, or no, not that, $100 for an esrig. Over here, it's free. You just put on your status. 6 people come and you reap the benefits every single day, every month. It's unbelievable. Fairness. I don't chap. I'm not chap. Yisrael Goldstein just said to me, put on a status. 500 people saw his status. He signed up countless people. He didn't tell me a number. He says countless. Shimi Leafman. All day long, busy putting on this clip, this. Just get another guy. What's the difference between you and Shimi Leafman? You know what the difference is? He understands the value. He understands what one neshama learning Torah is. One more guy, you reap the benefits. I don't have. Nothing goes away. You don't take away from that guy. All you do is you benefit. Anyway, here we go. Rabbi Isai, a new Zayda in town. Moshe board Matzi Tisha B'Av. Spent the week in New York. My eyes are still infected, so I can't wear my lenses. But Baruch Hashem is getting much better. Thanks for all the concerns. Thanks for the doctors who wrote in. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. It just happens to be I had an appointment for tomorrow with a eye doctor. So Baruch Hashem spoke to him today. He said, "Come in with the whole thing." Shkoyach. Spent the week in New York waiting for the bris. But keeping up with the daven, recruiting for Kiddushin. My wife caught me keeping up on the flight back to Florida. He sent me the picture, but I like this picture better. Keep on dafing and mazel tov to me on entering this next phase of my life. Chazdei Hashem, Michael Chesel, Per Chesel, and Herman Intellectual Property Lawyers. Oh, I didn't show the picture. I got to show the picture. Here he is. Mazel tov, mazel tov. All right. What do I want to say? I don't remember it. Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to say. That I'm here in Chicago. Not putting Chicago down. I'm in my house the whole day. I didn't leave the house once, maybe for a few minutes to daven. But that's it. But I'm looking forward for those 8 o'clock. Yeah, you guys understand. It's a new phase in life. They're coming tomorrow. It's a whole Yavaldik. Avrum Zerkir. I came across this and thought it fits your mantra and daily exhortations. Is that a word? The Chaim said that there are exhortations. The Chaim said that there were 3 reasons that the Yetzer Hara uses to weaken our performance of mitzvahs. I have plenty of time to do it. I'll do it later. That's 1. 2, how much can I remember? Why start learning? It's too much and too hard. That's the famous excuse not to do Daf Yomi. 3, does my learning really matter? There are others more learned than me to study Torah. He offered 3 antidotes. For the first one, today is my only day. For the second one, the only page to learn is the one currently in front of me. And third of all, the command applies to me as an individual, as if I were the only Jew in the world. Keep on trucking, Abzi. Maybe men keep on daffing. I don't know. Oh, that goes over here. Sorry, I'm turning the wrong thing. Next, I want to wish you a full Shalema on your eye infection. You'll be better. I'm sorry I didn't get to make it to Chicago or Tannesville. The live share, we had a bar mitzvah. Leo, mazel tov. Also, mazel tov and Yoel's bar mitzvah. Still going strong for over 3.5 years, says Joel Mizrahi. almost 3 years with MDY, and I'm working on bringing more people to learning for Kiddushin. See you soon, Bezrat Hashem. Yashar Koyach. And what else do we have today? Oh, last night at minute 34 and 51 seconds, he skipped 4 lines from Tiboyle Rabbanon, it skipped on the current shir. Got to tell Chicago to make some noise if this happens and not be shy, especially you told them that your eyes were bothering you. Moshe. Let's go back to Daf Beis Amud Beis. I still owe something from Ayin Vav. But it just says here, we'll read it. We don't even have to explain it. To be yahrzeit. To boil the Rabban, we don't want to make a siyum without doing every word. It's like smack in the middle of the page. To boil the Rabban, Adkel Kamera Rabban Ochel to be in increases Vileka. Aval Hasam Kinyan Koldu. Kedushin, all you need is a little smoky. Or do a Yatzav Haisa. The other pashto. Okay, fine. The Koilol is sponsored by Namas from Lakewood. The Refuos Esther Bas Bela. The Mishnah is sponsored by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. The Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh Bracha B'lidai and all my endeavors. Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Leah. Parnas HaChodesh Dr. Avrum Epstein in memory of the 30 years of his beloved Raiza Gitl Zeav. Parnas HaChodesh Mordechai ben Esther for complete Refuah Shalema Karev. Amen. Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef. Parnas HaYom Nishmas Moshe Chaim ben Akiva. And the art is sponsored with complete Refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Rabbi Isai. Here we go. So we are holding, because it's Motzei Shabbos, who was Motzei Shabbos, we did 8 lines down. We're holding my Toner Rabban on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. La'acha p'tiroses Rebbe Eliezer. So Rebbe Eliezer said a very, very interesting halacha that when we read it, everybody was like, what? Person says, I'm divorcing you, but not to that one person over there. I'm divorcing you. You're mutter to the whole world, but you're not mutter to Reuven. I'll ask you the question right now. What status does Reuven have to this woman? Again, I'm divorcing you, my wife. You're mutter to every single human being in the world besides Reuven. So that wife and Reuven, what status do they have? Anybody? What did you say? Somebody just whispered something I liked. Okay, what else? What did you say?
She's an Ashes Ish.
Very good. Says Reb Heshi Lichtman. She's an Ashes Ish. The Gabi Reuven. It's very nice. We're going to have to use that soon. Okay, so we had 2 pshatim. I'll show them to you right here. When the Mishnah says a very interesting lashon that usually the Mishnah doesn't use. What does Ella mean? The word Ella. One pshat was chutz, and that's what we stuck with. It means everybody besides. Or Ella means almenas. It's a condition. You're mutter to the whole world, even Reuven. And you're not a Eishes to Reuven. Not a Eishes. But if you go and marry him, then it'll be mevatel the get retroactively, and then you won't be divorced. So you cannot marry him. But not because there's an issa deraisa of Eishes. Fine. Yeah. Then she will become. Correct.
If she marries somebody else in between.
Oh. No, what do you say? What should happen?
It's still hard.
Almanas, the condition, it doesn't matter how many people you marry in between, it's not going to matter. You broke the condition. Let's say I tell you, you cannot go to Chicago. And if you go to Chicago, it's not a get. And then you married this man, and you married another man, and a 5th man, and then she went to Chicago. What happens? The get is not a get. 10 years ago, it's not a get. But you're onto something. What if he said chutz? You are divorced, and you can marry anybody in the world besides Reuven. And then she married Shimon, and her husband died or whatever. Could she marry Reuven now? So that we're going to see. That l'chari, yes. It might be different. Very interesting. Says the Gemara like this. Torah Rabbana. La'achar p'tiroses Rebbe Eliezer. Yeah, but then the get was retroactive. Okay. La'achar, not dead, yes dead. Let's see. La'achar p'tiroses Rebbe Eliezer. After Rebbe Eliezer was nifter, nichnasu our boss Kanim lahoshev al dvarov. Very interesting. There's a Gemara Nida Daf Amud Beis. Check it out. We all know that Rabbi Eliezer Shemutiyu. What does that mean? Rabbi Eliezer was nifter, unfortunately, in Chaim. The famous Machlokes that he had with Chachamim, and the whole world turned over in his favor, and the walls moved, and the water, and the trees. But they put him in Chaim. So Gemara Nida says that we don't want to paskin anything like Rabbi Eliezer when he's alive. You'll come to maybe paskin other things, this, that. But things changed once he was nifter, because he was Rabbi Eliezer. So once he was nifter, then they started like being done in what he said. I'm just throwing it here. Maybe that's what happened there. After he's nifter, the Chachamim come in. Who the Chachamim? G'dolei Olam, Rabbi Raiza Gitl, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Elazar Nazario, Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara is now going to tell us 4 bomb questions that they all had. Each one had a different question on Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Akiva actually had 2 questions. That's a total of 5. We're going to have even more later. Yeshua. Just questions, bombs. The only one that's going to stick really is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Shoshana. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. What are the questions? Just have to find my. Now it's not a good day not to have it, but okay. It's not here. It's not here. But if I skip any words, you better tell me. Nana Rabbi Tarfon v'Omar. So Rabbi Tarfon screamed out and he said, "Arei shahol chazu v'nisis la'achav shel zeh shenesra olav." So let's see. I think we have a little chart here. So here are the four tainas, just in the Bekitzer, just to overview as a chazara. Rabbi Akiva is only one of them. Let's see if I can read it from here. So according to Rabbi Tarfon, it seems like there could be a situation where this condition that he makes is going to eliminate a mitzvah in the Torah, which is yibum. Okay. Another question that Rabbi Gitl has: how is it possible the whole world is mutter to this woman, and this guy is also to her? He made a condition: I'm divorcing you, but not to Reuven. How's it? Is there anything in the world that's mutter to everybody, but also to one individual? And that's Rabbi Gitl. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says it's not krisos. There's still you're holding on. Krisos means a severance. Is nothing. I have nothing to do with that woman. Now I'm still holding on in something like Rabbi Pesci said. She's a Eishes Ish still. I'm still married to her. Ligabe, this one guy. So it's not a real krisos. Rabbi Akiva says, how is it possible that if he breaks the condition afterwards, all the children, if she gets divorced, she can't marry that guy, she has a bunch of children and everything, then she marries that guy, and then all the children she had are going to turn into mamzerim? So all these questions have good answers, besides Elazar ben Azariah, which it's not krisos. So let's see inside. Each one, and we're going to see it once, and then the Gemara is going to repeat each one and go more in depth. So if you don't chap now, you can chap later. So here we go. Here's the situation. There's a ex on Reuven. The husband said, you cannot marry Reuven. So she doesn't marry Reuven. Who does she marry? Reuven's brother, Shimon. And then what happens? He dies, and now she falls liibum. But he can't marry her because the ex said you can't marry her. So it comes out that the ex, are you smiling? Because I can't even see. I see a great smile. Yeah, Marty, you're smiling? Good. It's nerve. I said this yet. How did they live 300 years ago? I don't understand. If you had a 4, I don't even have such a big 4 or 5. That's it. You go like can't see people 10 feet away. I don't know. I was. We take everything for granted. Glasses, lenses, this, bifocals. Yeah, it's got no diars. 300 years ago. So, okay, fine. So here's the situation that I took away a mitzvah from the Torah. How did you do that? But the Gemara is going to slug it up soon. Okay. No, you can't do yibum with the original. Oh, that. No. Depends. Oh, we're going to see in a second. How do we learn? Is it chutz or almanas? It makes a difference. The whole sugi, we're going to go back and forth. Is it a condition, or he said besides this person? Not Raiza Gitl. We're just going to go one by one, and then we're going to go into each one. Says Raiza Gitl. Heicha matzino asal lezeh umutal lezeh. Asal akol. Mutter akol. If there's something that's mutter to oh, I did. Which one? Not a Raiza Gitl. Heicha matzino asal lezeh umutal lezeh asal lakol. Asal lakol. Mutter akol. It can't be, he says, how is it possible? So I want to ask the Olam, how is it possible that something is mutter to this person and also to somebody else? Something is also to this person and mutter? No. What do you mean, how is it possible? Where do we see in the Torah that it is possible? Where? Truma, very good. What else?
I can eat grapes, you can't.
Okay, I made that's a Tanai. That's not an Issa Deraisa. I answered it myself.
A sister.
Very good. Arayos. All these are questions that the Gemara is going to ask. I can't marry my sister, but you could. I can't eat the truma, but you can. You're a kohen. I can't eat a carbon, but the kohen could. These are all the questions that the Gemara is going to ask and slug it up.
Image.
Who? Oh, image. Shkoyach. Not everybody does krisos. It says in the Torah, krisos. You have to cut her off completely. Over here, he didn't cut her off completely. She's still also the one man in the world because of you. In other words, she's a little bit of an Ashish here. Rabbi Akiva Omar says Rabbi Akiva. What if she went ahead and she married somebody, and she had children from him, and her second husband died, and then she went ahead and she married the guy that her husband said she can't marry. Then it turns out that all her children she had from the second husband, because of the third husband, become amzerim. What's a good kash on this, Rabbi Yisai? Do we find something else like that? Anytime a person makes a condition on a get, and the wife gets married, and she breaks the condition after the marriage, all the kids turn into mamzerim. What's Rabbi Akiva's big problem with this? Here's the second time in Rabbi Akiva. So let's say this balpeh. If the husband says, I'm divorcing you on condition you don't marry anybody in the world besides Mr. Kohen, and then he dies, the husband dies, could she marry the Kohen? Or could anybody, is she considered a divorcee or an almana? So let's see inside. He said that the person that she can't marry is a Kohen. Now the guy that's divorcing, the first husband dies. So she became an almana. Ugrusha is a kalada. Now, this kohen that she's usher to, what's her isser? She's a grusha, but not to him. Not to him. She's a grusha to other people. Now, what is she to him? An almana, just an almana. But is she mutter to marry him? Absolutely not. Why? Because we learned about the concept called reach haget. If he wrote a get and put it in his pocket, she's considered a grusha. So certainly if she's usher to all the men in the world because she's a divorcee, or she's a divorcee to all the men in the world, and all the kohanim in the world she's usher to because she's a divorcee. So certainly she's usher to this kohen. So in other words, we take seriously the fact that she's somewhat of a divorcee. Says the Gemara, if so, take seriously the fact, and that's what Reb Hesha said all in the beginning. She's a little bit of Eishes Ish, right? You hear, Marty? She's a little bit of Eishes Ish. Why is she a little bit of Eishes Ish? Before the guy dies. Since she cannot marry Ruvain, so when we look at her in Ruvain, she's a married woman. She never got a divorce for Ruvain. So she's not allowed to marry Ruvain because she's Eishes Ish. And nevertheless, she can marry the whole world. What do you mean? She's a little bit of Eishes Ish. She shmeks Eishes Ish. If you say she Reach get doesn't let her marry a kohen, so Reach Esheseh shouldn't allow her to marry anybody in the world. Let's see how Yoshi did it in a little bit of a thingy here. So first of all, so this is for later. So like this, I can't see so well. If she's a divorcee after her husband dies, she's usher to that guy that the husband said not to marry. Why? Because he's a kohen and she's a little bit of a divorcee. Even though for that individual, she's not a divorcee. She's only an almana. There's one person in the world that she's not a divorcee. And that's the guy that the husband said he can't marry. Nevertheless, she's also to him. Why? Because there's a little bit of a tzad gerushin. And for the whole world, she's mutter because she's divorced. So the Gemara says, what about the fact that she's a little bit of Eish Ish? Because that individual, one guy made her Eish Ish. She's a little bit of Eish Ish. So if so, she shouldn't be able to marry anybody in the world. How could she marry Shimon if she's a little bit married to Reuven? Okay, actually, I see you learned the sugya. I see you. It's true. That's what the Gemara is going to say later. You know what's his name said? We both know Rabbi Mahler, and he used to say when people used to ask him kashas. I said this before, but during Mahler used to say, "Where did you get the kasha from? From the Atzkov? Look in the Atzkov for the teretz." Okay. Anyway, but they're all good kashas. Zog the Gemara. We did that already. So let's see inside. If the husband, the original husband, said you can't marry the one guy in the world, and he happens to be a kohen, or may some garish and that original husband dies, she's only an almana to that one kohen. Yet she can't marry him. Why? Because she's a little bit of a grush to everybody else. And we're going to do this again later. Gerushin, check this out. Excuse me, it says in the pasuk, a kohen has a lav to marry grusha. What about a person who is over neshes? Much more chomer than that avera. So melo. So that's the gavachomer. Magrushi kalo asur b'shul tzad gerushin sheba eshes chamura. It's much more chomer because there's a chiyuv misa like kolchke. Okay, that's only because of what Rebbe said, that she has a little bit of a marriage to that guy that she's not allowed to marry. In other words, a little bit of marriage to her original husband because she can't marry that guy. Comes Rabbi Yeshua, a meshivim nesari la'achar miso. Says Rabbi Yeshua, you can't jump to conclusions when you have a taina on a rov. On somebody's choshev is Rabbi Eliezer, I have a good kasha. A lot of times the Rav tells you something. You hear a story about a Rav. Yeah, you have a good kasha. So why don't you speak to him? Speak to him face to face. Maybe he'll explain to you that your kasha is not a good kasha. In fact, as the Gemara is going to say, most of the kashas just fall right off. And you probably could learn for Stamazai. In life, a lot of times somebody does something to you, says something to you. If you just ask him, why did you say it? Or why do you do it? Half the problem goes away. Half the kas. Some of these good reasons. You just have to hear from the person. You have a big kasha on somebody who's nifter. Okay, it's too late now. Big kasha. What you think he didn't think of your kasha? He also thought of your kasha. He didn't think of such a kasha. Maybe. Because it's Gittin and because it's one of these sugis, so I have to say this ma'isa. If it's not, if you don't hold it's roy and funny, it's fine. It's just for the. We got to stick one piece of humor in this whole sugya. There's a lion that chased the yid, chased him. The guy caught on really fast that he's not going to outrun the lion. He sat down and he started saying Tehillim. The lion shows up. The lion chops away his Tehillim. He starts rummaging through the pages. So the Jew says, "What are you looking for? A particular kapitel before you eat me?" He says, "No. I'm looking to see if there's Bikas Hamazon here." Zog the Gemara. Omar Rava, Kulu Islu Pirchel Bar. No, for Gittin it's okay. Kulu Islu Pirchel Bar Mid Rebbe Elazar, and I'm going to miss Gittin. I say this on a lot of Masechtas, but Masechtas Gittin was gewaldig. It happens to be, it was a very, very good Shmak Masechta. Says Gemara at the end of the day, we just finished saying, you don't answer a lion after he dies. You know what? It happens to be all your questions aren't good questions. The only one out of four we can't answer. I like your husband Azariah, who he said it's not krisos. There's a problem with krisos, and that's how we went with the whole, throughout the whole Masechta, we had this thing. Krisos. Oh my. So let's go through each one now. See if I can find it here. Yeah. So going back to this. Again, her husband says you can't marry the guy with the ex. Can't marry Shimon. And she went and she married the brother. And then the brother dies, so she falls to Yibum, but she can't fall to Yibum, so he uprooted something in the Torah. As the Gemara, what did he do? He told her not to marry Ruvain, and she went and she married Shimon's brother. So the guy that divorced, he caused something. He maybe is a grumma. Maybe he. No, his condition caused the akira. Masna. What he told her, she must marry the brother. All he said is, don't marry Reuven. He didn't say, but you should marry Shimon. He said you can marry all the men in the world, anyone you want besides Reuven. She decided to marry that one guy's brother. No, it's her problem, not the. Why is it his problem? Why do you look at him? Means that I take an esrig and I break it in half and I throw it out the window. I took a mitzvah and I threw it out. By the husband telling her not to marry Reuven, he destroyed a mitzvah with his hands. Because he should have known that she might marry the brother, and that brother's going to die first, and they're not going to have children, and then later on, that's not Oikid Daven HaTorah. Hello, Goyrim Lakod Daven HaTorah. He's causing Goyrim. Elameato Bas Ochiv Leisa. You shouldn't marry your own. What? Is it on? Not on?
The black camera screen is off. That's on.
Yeah, it's, the guy didn't say that. Okay. Don't worry about it. Hello. It's a backup, and the backup's not on, so hopefully this works. So says the Gemara, what about your niece? We saw it's a big mitzvah to marry a niece, and one of the reasons is because there's a lot of love between family members. So you start off on the right foot. Uncle and niece, today it's not so acceptable, and in certain Yerushalmis and these kind of Hasidim a lot, it is. Okay, I just heard, mamish recently, there's somebody that wanted to marry his niece in Eretz Yisrael, and people made a whole balagan, and this, they went to Rabbanim. So one Rav said, it's a big mitzvah. The other Rav said, no, nowadays you shouldn't do it, genetically it's a problem. And a third Rav said, find out what the genetic issues are. And they found out that it increases like some sort of thing by 3%. So I think he said it's, it went from 3% to 6%. It wasn't that, I think they said it's Pseudo. Anyway, according to what you're telling me, uncle should never be able to marry his niece. Because maybe the uncle will die without children. His wife is going to fall to his brother. Who's his brother? His wife's father. And a father cannot be miyabim his daughter, obviously. So now you caused that the mitzvah of Yibam should fly out the window. That's exactly why we don't think that Reb Tarfon's question is such a big question. Ubemai, how did Reb Tarfon learn the machlokes between Reb Elazar, Reb Eliezer, and Chacham? In other words, if we're going to go back to this chart right over here, we had two options in Reb Eliezer. Chutz and Almanas is right. Is we said our mission is talking about that he used the lashon ela means chutz, but we brought a brisa that says Almanas. In other words, you can marry anybody you want besides this brother. Is it besides, or is it on condition you don't marry him? Says the Gemara, ubemai ilim bechutz. If he said a lashon, you cannot marry you can marry anybody in the world besides Ruvain, Mr. Shar Rebbe Eliezer. And that if that was the case, then this Yavam would be mutter in Yibum. And that's what you were saying before. What happens if you marry somebody in between? Does it knock off the whole condition of the original husband? Over here, the Gemara says, yeah. Reb Tarfon says, yes. In a case that, our case, you can marry the whole world besides Reuben. She went ahead and she married somebody, and then she got divorced, or she lost her husband. She's mutter to the original guy that her husband said you can't marry. So in our case also, she would be mutter to who? To the Yavam. Ella Balmanas. So if we have two choices, we must be talking about a case we didn't say chutz, because if it's a case of chutz, she would be mutter to the Yavam. We're talking about a case of Almanas. Now what? That he made a condition. On condition, you don't marry that guy. Now, it doesn't matter how many men she marries in between. Once she marries that man that was in the condition, then it breaks the get retroactively, and it causes a lot of problems. Not Rabbi Yossi Agli the Bamar. Now, let's go back to Rabbi Yossi Agli. What was Rabbi Yossi Agli's question on Rabbi Lezer? Where in the world do we find that something is also to this person and mutter to the other person? Either everything is also to everybody, or everything is mutter to everybody. What about truma? It's mutter to Kohanim and also the Israelim. I'm talking about when it comes to women, not to food. But we're talking about what about a daughter? A daughter is also to the father, but mutter to anybody in the world. When you get married, you got married, it's a woman, and she's also to the whole world, and mutter to you. That's exactly the question that we had on Rabbi Yosef Levi. Ubimai. And now the Gemara goes through the whole, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Okay, I need my Chaim as well. They know what I'm talking about. Goes through the whole, not procedure, the whole process. Not bad for Chicago. Not bad. You're coming. You see, when you don't come, we don't have these words. I wasn't looking for the word process, but okay, we'll take it for now. The whole you go through the motions. I don't know. Process, fine. We'll use process for now, and I'll get 3 emails. This is the word you're looking for. Yes, you're right. That was the word. Now. What case are we talking about? If a person, listen to this chap, and I mentioned it yesterday. If a person says, I'm divorcing you on condition that you don't marry so-and-so, is she allowed to have just relations with that person? Yes. Because all he said in his condition was, don't marry him. He never said znus. Now, we're not saying that znus is mutter. We're saying that in terms of his condition, she didn't break his condition. But if he says don't be with that person, then even znus is us. Not Akiva Omar. Now let's go to Rabbi Akiva. But according to you, Rabbi Eliezer, what if she can marry somebody else and she has children and she loses her husband? And this guy she gets divorced. Thank you. And then she marries. After she loses her second husband, she goes and marries a third husband. He's the one Ruvain that her first husband said, don't marry. It turns out that all the children she had from her second husband are Amzerim. Says Gemara, the question is, anytime you make a condition that you can't do 10 jumping jacks in a row, and if you do, then you get is not a get. And then she married a second husband and she had 25 kids. And then she did 10 jumping jacks in a row. Then her whole get was batal mikara, and then her 25 kids and mamzerim. She shouldn't be able to get married. Maybe she'll break her tnai. V'nim to get batal b'nei mamzerim. Haynu pircha. You're right. That's a good kasha. Ubemai. And what's the case? Now this is important to remember. When Rebbe Akiva asked this question, what was he thinking? If he's talking about a case of chutz. Now, if all the Rishonim talk about this, think about what Rebbe Akiva said. If he made a condition and he said, don't do 10 jumping jacks, in other words, he's talking about almanas. Rebbe Akiva is talking about almanas, not a chutz. So what are you asking? What are you trying to prove now? What Rebbe Akiva is talking about? Of course, he's talking about almanas. The simple answer is, you're right. It's just going in order. Or every Tana that we had until, what are we talking? Ubemai is a chutz almanas. Oh, it's bechutz. It's a chutz almanas. It's an almanas. And now let's see what Rebbe Akiva holds.
Are you saying because of the fact that he says when I'm there?
No.
How do you know?
Yeah, because he said mefurish.
He says, okay, because the fact that he said that if you got divorced, you married
Yeah.
it, so it must be almanas.
Exactly. And even you see from their question, they're talking about almanas. What about a tnai? What about a regular tnai? Everything they're asking it's partially he's talking about almanas. So says the Gemara, Ubemai. Rebbe Lezer says in such a case where he says b'chutz that she's allowed to marry somebody else. We had this. She married somebody else, then she got divorced. She's mutter to that guy. Okay, so for that, let's just look at this for a second. So what happens? Where's the check mark? On the almanas box. Okay, the Gemara is going to ask, but on Rebbe Akiva's second kasha, you have to put the check mark on the chutz. And that creates a problem. How's he learning the Mishnah? Almanas and chutz. Which one is it? Let's go. Right? That whole kavachayim. If the husband said you can't marry Reuben, and Reuben happens to be a kohen, and then the original husband died. She's also to the kohen. Why? Because she's a grusha. Says the Gemara, Gerushin that a kohen marries a grusha is only allowed. It's just ish. There's a tzad ish. Why is it tzad ish? Again, for the 10th time. Because the husband said you can't marry Reuben. So now between the husband and the wife, there's a little bit of a ish left over. Why? Because she can't marry Reuben. If she can't marry, so therefore she shouldn't be able to marry the whole world. It's just chamurli culture. Ubemai. And what's the case? We just put a check mark that we're talking about. It's a condition. But if it's a condition, Hare grusha etzle biznos. He only told her in the almanas, right? Almanas is different than chutz. We said almanas is on condition you don't marry Reuven. He never said you can't have znus with Reuven. So Mela, and therefore, if she's allowed to have znus, not allowed, but it doesn't break the condition, then she's a divorcee when it comes to that guy. Not Eish. You hear what's going on here? What happened? He said you're not allowed to marry Reuven. So Rebbe Akiva's whole chap was that between her and Reuven, she's Eish. But no, between her and Reuven, she's a grusha. Why? Because forget about marriage. What if they stam have a relation without marriage? That's not included in the almanas. And if it's not included in the almanas, she's a divorcee to the whole world, including him. So she's actually a divorcee to him, not an almanah to him. Rebbe Akiva, your whole chap flies out the window. Ella b'chutz. So therefore, it can't be that that's what Rebbe Akiva said. B'chutz. So take a look at the chart for a second. I love this. I used to do this. I did it here. No, she didn't help me. Oh, now the arrow goes from almanas and went to the chutz. So we got a little bit of a problem because a second ago we said that the arrow's on almanas. And now he's saying it's a chutz. What's going to be here? Rebbe Akiva, chutz virle, lois of chutz. Almanas virle, lois of almanas. Which one are you going with? You got to pick, Rebbe Akiva. Which one is it? Is it chutz or almanas? Says the Gemara, Rebbe Akiva shmile, dikadom chutz, vikadom almanas. Rebbe Akiva heard that some people interpret the Mishnah with the chutz, and some people interpret almanas. And therefore, now it makes a lot of sense. Why did Rebbe Akiva ask two questions? Everybody asked one. He asked one question for the people that interpret the Mishnah and the almanas, and one special question for the people that interpret on chutz. It's not just a teretz. Oh, dochek teretz. No, that's exactly what Rebbe Akiva wanted to accomplish here. That's what I think. I don't know. Yeah, let's just finish until the line here. Sponsored by MDY Tehillim Group, where we daven for Refuos, Yeshuos, Shidduchim, for Klal and MDY, and our MDY family, I should say. Join us, Tehillim 8.8min.com. Zog the Gemara. Umay pircha. And what's your pircha on this last kavachomer that we just said? Ineime isur kuna shani. So lemaisa, we touched upon everything. Baruch Hashem. This is all chazar shebechazar, because Heshi said this kash also. What's the whole point? When he says that you are also to Reuven, we said, oh, she can't marry Reuven. She could marry Reuven. She's only a sister to Reuven, not a divorcee to Reuven. What's the answer? But she's a divorcee to the whole world. So what? But to him, she's not a divorcee, and she's allowed to marry this Chaim because she's only an almana. The answer is because it's a reach haget. She sounds like she's a divorcee, not really. Okay, but that's only a chumrah that we say by kohanim. So how could Rebbe Akiva even ask a question on it for Eishes Ish? Eishes Ish, we don't have these chumras. Only for kohanim we have these chumras. So here, check this out. Again, Rebbe Lezer in the Mishnah says in a case, Harayat Mugureshes. I just wrote it my own lashon. Harayat Mugureshes chutz meploni. You can marry the entire world besides Reuven. What does Rebbe Lezer say? Divorced. What's pshat? How could it be? We didn't understand. How could it be? So yesterday we brought two psukim. Either he learns it from V'hol Chavois L'Shacher, or he learns it from Kohanim in the red box or the red and blue box and blue words. V'isha grusha mi'isha. But it's a pasuk by Kohanim. So when it says, Rebbe Lezer himself took it from Kohanim. He's not saying, it's a special chomer by Kohanim. He learned this whole halacha that if you make a divorce on condition that you don't marry one person, it works. He got it from Kohanim. And he didn't say, Kohanim have a special chumrah. They have more mitzvahs than regular people. So that's not a good kasha. Says Gemara, Rava is going with the green box. The green box is not Kohanim. That Rebbe Lezer learned it from the pasuk that has nothing to do with Kohanim, and that's why he has a kasha. Omar lohen Rabbi Yeshua. Says Rabbi Yeshua, it's not the gishmak. It's not a. I don't know what the word is. It's not inappropriate. It's not a kunz. I'm just looking for the kunz word. In other words, it's not a big chachma to go answer somebody that's not alive. Go if you have a good kasha, you should have approached him when he was alive, and let's see what do we do with it. So, but that means that Rabbi Yeshua, who says this, holds like Rebbe Eliezer. He's sticking up for Rebbe Eliezer. So the Gemara, say this in 1 second, we're going to have Rabbi Yeshua's giant question on Rebbe Eliezer. So obviously, he doesn't hold like Rebbe Eliezer. So why is he sticking up for Rebbe Eliezer? So this is what he said to the Chacham. By the way, you have 4 kashas. I have kasha number 5 or 6. We all have issues. All 5 of us have issues. You can't answer a lion after he's dead. Now the Gemara just says, "We might pick the Rabbi Yeshua." And what exactly was Rabbi Yeshua's big question? The sign of Rabbi Yeshua. We know of the Yotzam and Beis of a Holch of a Hoysel Shacher. Makish Havaya Litzia. There's always a hekesh between divorce and kiddushin. So we're makish the Koyme Havaya, the unmarried status of a woman before she gets married. What's her status? Before her second marriage. Rabbi Yeshua just asked a simple question. Every woman in the world has no connection to any man ever. Nothing, 0 connection. And then she gets married. So too, when she gets married for the second time, she has to have 0 connection to any man in the world. Similar to the krisus kasha. But he's taking it not from the word krisus, but from the hekesh of Yosef Ha'isa. And therefore, you, Rebbe Eliezer, don't make sense. How is it possible that a woman can get married to anybody in the world, even though she can't get married to one man? She has some sort of connection and some sort of isser to somebody else where it's not similar to the first marriage. Gufa. We said before, an amazing halacha, that if he makes this condition, says you're mutter to the whole world besides Reuben. And she married Naphtali, just a random guy. And his garsh, then Naphtali dies. And she's allowed to go back and marry Reuben. Big chiddush. How's it possible? He says, you know what happened? How's it possible that Naphtali, by marrying this woman, made this woman mutter to Reuben? Her husband, her original husband, said, you cannot marry Reuben. Big sign on her forehead says, Osir. I'm also to Reuben. She went and she married Naphtali, and then Naphtali dies. So now she can marry Reuben. That means Naphtali made her mutter to Reuben. How's that possible? Where do we find that the original husband, whatever his name is, made her also to Reuben, and comes Naphtali and makes her mutter? Says Gemara, I'll bring you a few cases. What about Yavama? The Baal Oyser, the brother Reuven makes her Osir, the Yava matter, and the Yava makes her mutter to the world. Says Gemara, Yavam will call Osir law. No, the Yavam himself makes her Osir in the whole world, and the Yavam himself makes her mutter to the whole world. Because if it's the original guy that died, when a man dies, the wife becomes mutter to the whole world. So who made her Osir to the world? The guy that died? Or the guy that's alive, the brother-in-law that's alive. The brother-in-law that's alive made her Osir. And he's the one that's making her mutter. Well, what about Arei Nadar? The famous Hataras Nadar. If you make a neder, you go in front of Chachamim and they matter. You made something Osir, they make it mutter. Says Gemara, no, that's not how it works. They don't make something mutter. They take it out of you. They ask you a bunch of questions. They see that you regret doing it and you've never done it had you known XYZ. And then Mela, it comes off because of you, not because of them. What about the fact that the husband could take the wife's neder and throw it out the window without asking her any questions? Do you have charata, not charata? So she made something that's asur, he made something that's mutter. There's a svara that every wife wants to be good to her husband. She doesn't want to do something to upset the husband. Even if she gets really mad at him, she says, I'm not that from you. He still could undo it. Because the bottom line, at the end of the day, the Torah is Yer L'Dasa Isha. She wants to satisfy her husband. In other words, she's masking, she's only doing the neder on condition that he could be mattered. So in fact, she's the one that's mattered. The word krisus means kairos. I'm chopping it, separating it, severing it, nothing to do. And in our case, so Rabbi Azariah is not krisus. Rabbanon, who don't say this is pshat, high krisus my avdelay. What do they do with the word krisus? The boilo like the sanya. Raiza Gitl amanashli tishtiyain. Amanashli telchol bisavich la'olam. Ain't krisus. Krisus means to sever. If I make a deal, if I make a tonight that she cannot do something, she can never go back to this first house forever, that's not krisus. Shloishim yoim, but if it's a limited amount of time, harei krisus. Vidach, and Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, Nafka. By the way, in the article it says over here Rebbe Elazar. It's a mistake. It's Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. No, I'm just saying it because not to be confused with Rebbe Eliezer. Eliezer is the one we're talking about the whole sugya. Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah is the one that asked the question. But the one that's asking the question, so the word krisos has two words in it. The Torah could have said sefer kares. Instead of the Torah used sefer krisos, so I'm learning two things from the same word. That's not true. The Torah couldn't have said kares, whatever. It made more sense with the Torah say krisos, fine. If a person gives a get on condition that you never drink wine again, oh, you're going to take care of my children and you're going to go on with your drinking and going to bars? Absolutely not. I'm going to give you a get on condition you don't drink ever again. It's not krisus. And if he attaches it to somebody else's life, how is it krisus? It is good. Ask the Gemara, what are you talking about? What's your concern? That if you do, why is it okay if you attach it to somebody else's life? Because it's possible that guy will die and then the night will be okay. What about the husband's life? Maybe the husband will die. Says the Gemara, you're right. You're right. If it had depending on the wife's life, ends krisus. But if he ties it to his own life or to somebody else's life, then it is a good get because they could both die, and then she'll be mekayim at night. This is a very interesting kasha. Shiloh. What if a person divorces his wife just for one day? You are divorced for today. Tomorrow, you're going to be my wife back again. Get or not get? What does the Olam say? No get. Okay, you're all macham to the Gemara. Actually, not. The Gemara says different than you guys. The Gemara says it's a get, just you don't go back. It's a little different than what you're saying. Says the Gemara, today you divorce, tomorrow not. Mom. So the Gemara says, the boiler Belezer to boiler Rabbanon. I can ask a question according to both. The boiler Belezer, Atkan like Komar Belezer, awesome, a little man, the Koshori Loilam. What did Belezer say? I'm divorcing you, but not to Reuven. So I'm divorcing you, but not for tomorrow. So you could say, maybe according to him, the Lamandik Koshori Loilam. Wait a minute. Rabbi Eliezer said she's mutter to the whole world. And the whole world, she's mutter forever and ever. It's not stop and go, but over here, it's stop and go. It's you're mutter to the whole world today, but tomorrow you're also the whole world. Or no, maybe not. You're not severed completely because you're still also to Ruvain. Even the Pascha. But over here on the day that she's divorced 100% to the whole world. So maybe it's a good get.
For him to be died that day, what did you possibly do?
It's good cash. I have to look into it. He wants to know what happens if he dies before the next day comes. But anyway, Basa the Baya, but here's the answer. Basa the Baya of the Pashto. Mistabra, Bainler Beliezer, Bainler Rabbanon. Even the Pascha. Once she's divorced one day, then she's divorced forever and she never goes back to him, but it is a good get. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.